Hey guys, this is gonna be like a part two, basically, of my celebrity crushes. Just because my family does not know I do YouTubing, so I basically got off on like Liam Neeson, I think. So I'm gonna go over these rest of these guys. Maybe I'll do like a live video later, just like a random Q&A type one, like get to know me. Or maybe I'll just go over to like Twitter and answer a bunch of Star Wars questions. Why not? Also, happy birthday to George Lucas, who in 1976 or whatever created this idea, which would be known obviously as Star Wars. Yeah. So, anyways, I'm gonna ignore like my Facebook messages. Give me like a second. That was my friend Danny. But anyways, you got Diamond Phillips. He's known for probably being like one of the first musical biopics. I don't know if there was like any like before it, but like he's known for playing Richie Valens in La Bamba, based off of like Richie Valens' life up till his death. He's in this hit series called The Prodigal Son, which I've never seen, but I may like, check it out while we're all in quarantine. He's known for the series called Longmire, with one of the guys at the bottom coming up soon, named Robert Taylor, coming up soon, which is like a famous TV series and has a cult following. Like there's this thing called Longmire Days in like Buffalo, New York or whatever in like the summertime with Katie Sackhoff from the Clone Wars, and she's also going to be a Mandalorian season 2, and Diamond Phillips, Kiefer Sutherland, and a bunch of like other guys. Some of these guys are on this list or whatever, are in this epic western called Young Guns, and its sequel Young Guns 2, based off like the events of Billy the Kid. Oh great, Jackson, my best friend, obviously, save me. Then you got Mads Mikkelsen. He's known for being this teacher or helper of students in this film called Hunt, which I usually talk about on here. It's like one of my first videos because I've been doing this for like 4 years on this channel. Sorry, on my main channel, my Shannon Gatesy one. You've got he's the villain in Doctor Strange. Yeah. He was recently in like Death Stranding, that game. He is Galen Erso, the creator of the Death Star. And you also kind of meet the plants too that were hidden on a space station on the planet Scarif. In Rogue One, A Star Story, and maybe, just maybe, we will see him returning as Galen Erso in Cassian Andor, a spin-off to Rogue One about like 6 years or whatever before the event of Rogue One. So who knows? Speaking also of prequels and stuff like that, you have one of my favorite serial killers, who's first, number 2 right there, Sir Anthony Hopkins. He was the original guy that took on Silence of the Lambs, and Mads Mikkelsen's known for like a prequel thingy leading up to like Silence of the Lambs and stuff like that, called Hannibal. Lee mentions that right there. It has a cult following. There's like fan festivals in like September or whatever over here in Toronto, I believe. I've never been to one of them, but maybe I will one day. And maybe I'll come back. Even though like the creators and stuff like that are busy, but there's probably a few little bits more leading up to Silence of the Lambs type style thing. Maybe he'll even say that reference one day, but can you be nice, gigantic? In this nice, evil like way. Speaking of evil guys, you got Marlon Brando, who's known for being this bad guy, I think he was, in this film called Apocalypse Now, which has like Harrison Ford, like 2 years after Star Wars, as you guys can see there. And a few other amazing people. I think it was directed by Francis Ford Coppola, if I'm not mistaken, or somebody else. Francis Ford Coppola would later direct a film I'm going to talk about in a few seconds. Marlon's known for screaming, "Hey, Stella!" on the streets in this film called A Streetcar Named Desire, which I think is now a Broadway play, or it used to be. It's like referenced in a few movies. Like there's a movie called Hollywood Homicide. But yeah. Where this guy named Josh Hartnett is like, hey, Stella! Because he's trying out, I guess, for the play of it. And he's known for teaching us basically what kryptonites are in 70s or whatever. But 1970s or the 70s, Superman as his original father, obviously. And he's known for taunting people in one of my favorite franchises ever. I don't think I've seen number 2 or 3, but The Godfather. It's like usually always on. It's probably one of the longest movies in the history of movies. It's one of my favorite performances. I think he won an Oscar for it, but I don't know if he accepted it. And like there's been many other people that have played his character or whatever. Maybe there will be like a prequel one day. Even though there was part 2 that has De Niro in it. And actually there's this movie that is in like the 2000s, and it has Marlon Brando, Robert De Niro, and I think Matthew Broderick in it. And like I just said, Robert De Niro is like a young version of Don Corleone, I believe his name was, played famously by Marlon in the first Godfather movie, but like De Niro was the prequel version of his character. Oh, give me this. I just had to do something. But give me a second. Then you got this guy named Paul Guilfoyle. He's known for being, the leader of this team of scientists in this hit series called CSI, like the one that spans CSI New York and like CSI Miami. I think another one, I'm not too entirely sure, or maybe we'll get another one day that has a bunch of amazing casts in it, including like some of these guys are on this list, or one of the guys. There's this movie called Ransom that has a CSI connection. Levi Sniper, I think that's his name, who was Connery in the Scream movies. He was in like 2 episodes of CSI, and Paul and him were in the movie Ransom with one of my old celebrity crushes, Donnie Wahlberg from New Kids on the Block. And then there's this movie called Air Force One. It's like one of my favorite Harrison Ford movies. I forget if I mentioned that one. But it's, like Get Off My Plane, the one with like Harrison Ford, Gary Oldman, and a few other people, and there's like hijacking going on. And he's like and Paul's one of like Harrison's team. Then you got this guy named Robert Taylor. He's an Australian actor, for those of you guys that don't know, because I think that there is another actor named Robert Taylor from like the 1950s or whatever. But so Robert is in this film called Vertical Limit that has like Ben Mendelsohn, one of the guys at the top, and the guy that's coming up soon, that guy over there, Scott Glenn, and like the late great Bill Paxton, and a few other people called Vertical Limit. He was in this film called The Meg, which is sort of like Jaws, I guess, but like it has a bunch of people in it, including like Rainn Wilson from the US or Canadian version of The Office, and Jason Statham from like the Hobbs and Shaw Fast and Furious movies. And then obviously Robert Taylor and Lou Diamond Phillips and like Katie Sackhoff teamed up for the series called Longmire, the one that was mentioned for Lou Diamond Phillips a bit earlier. Then you got Sam Neill. So one of my favorite horror films of all time, sorry for that, called The Omen, which has which has Gregory Peck in it. So I'm not going to spoil Omen just in case nobody has seen it, but let's just say Gregory's character, he adopts this little kid, and that kid ends up being Sam Neill in the future. In like the 3rd movie, and there was like 4 movies, including a prequel that I don't want to talk about. Like the prequel is kind of bad. Well, some people say that. Some people don't. Then obviously, one of the last guys on this list directed him in this film called Hunt for the Wilder People. I've yet to see that. I should watch it. I'm trying to like watch as many of his films as I can right before he does my favorite series. ever. Well, one of my favorite like fandoms besides like Baywatching them because I'm addicted to David Hasselhoff at the moment. But you've got also Sam was in Jurassic Park. He was the famous guy that like took off his sunglasses to that theme, and he'll actually be back with Laura Dern and Jeff Goldblum in Jurassic World 3. And he was even back for like number 3 of Jurassic Park. And he was in like a non-animal singing version of the Jungle Book, which had like Carrie Elwes and the Princess Bride. I think Lena Headey from like Game of Thrones and a few other like people. But yeah. Then you got this guy named Scott Glenn. He's known for being this detective named Jack Crawford that would send a young Jodie Foster, well, kind of probably an up-and-comer at the moment or whatever by then, Jodie Foster to go get into the mind of a serial killer with the help of Anthony Hopkins, the one that got me addicted to Anthony's Hannibal, Silence of the Lambs. Scott's even known for being one of the guys in Vertical Limit. I forget if I mentioned him when I was like Robert Taylor, because Robert's right there. So I may not have, who knows. And there's this film called Silverado. It was like a Western with one of the guys up there, Kevin Costner, him, and a few other people, like a kind of young or whatever, Kevin Kline from A Fish Called Wanda, like young Jeff Goldblum, and a bunch of other people. And it's like the one that gave Kevin Costner his starting point, I believe, because he was in this film called The Big Chill, and then like his scenes got cut out. Then the director Lawrence Kasdan like promised Kevin a bigger role, and then ta-da, it would come like 2 or 3 years later in Silverado, where Scott would be Kevin's brother, and like one of the guys at the top was like the main villain, Brian Dennehy, right there. Then you got Sir Sean Connery. He's known for teaming up with Kevin Costner twice. I'll just get into them like right now, but he's known for rolling on the floor to the famous gun barrel, and being Harrison Ford's father in like Indiana Jones 3, Indiana Jones 4, even though his character is like dead in number 4. And actually, I didn't know if nobody knows this, but like Sean was like 9 years older than Harrison was. Hey guys. And I don't know if I ever told you guys this. I forget like if I said this during the Harrison thingy like a few days ago or whatever. But I had to do a project on Sean in like high school, or like I had to pick it randomly or whatever. And it turns out that Sean would have been like John Hammond's character if he would have accepted it in Jurassic Park, and Harrison Ford would have been Sam. Probably. Like, been Alan Grant. And then he's known for putting on tight as Robin Hood himself in this film called Robin and Marian with, like, Audrey Hepburn, I believe, from, like, Breakfast at Tiffany's as Maid Marian. And then, like, Richard Harris, who's in the hit movie Gladiator. Like, he's Aurelius or whatever. And then, and, like, the original Dumbledore right before Richard Harris died. And a few other Robert Shaw, who was in like From Russia with Love, I think was also in that, and Jaws and stuff, was also in Robin and Marian. And then he would be Richard the Lionheart, and Kevin Costner's Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves with like Morgan Freeman and Christian Slater, like great Alan Rickman, and a few other people. And then Sean was in this film in like 1987, I think, directed by Brian De Palma, I believe, called Untouchables, based off the finding of famous mobster at the time, Al Capone, played beautifully by Robert De Niro. Like one of his greatest roles in the 1980s, besides like Taxi Driver. I don't know when Taxi Driver was, 1970s or 80s probably. But yeah. Save me, guys. I love this guy. Then you got this guy named Taika Waititi. Waititi? I currently love him, even though, like, I love him David Hasselhoff a bit too much. Like, He's my background. Like, there's this app called Turn Live, and like he's singing the background thingy, but like you can't really hear him. Or that probably also would have been like a copyright. Um, he's known for being one of the greatest directors of like cinematic history, if you want to call it that, for like the Thor movies, even though some people hated Ragnarok. I think it was really great, and they let him have his like own creative style on it, mixed in with like a few of the comics or whatever. I kind of wonder if like and I'll get into this in a few seconds or so. He's known for directing this mockumentary about vampires called What We Do in the Shadows, which is also a famous TV series on like the channel FX, I believe, with like Mark Hamill from Star Wars recently appearing, and a few other people. His best friend, Jermaine Clements or whatever. He's known for this film called Boy. He's known for Hunt for the Wilder People that had Sam Neill in it. He's known for voicing this character named IG-11 in Star Wars, or Mandalorian, A Star Wars Story, whatever you want to call it, which is like 6 years after Return of the Jedi, which is just getting on its own season 2, and he actually directed the season 1 finale, which is probably when it signified his return to Star Wars in a bigger way, as of a couple of days ago, maybe even a week ago, May the 4th, actually. So, like, about 10 days ago. He got announced to do a Star Wars film, even though it had been rumored in, like, January or whatever. I'm super excited, you guys. I'm probably going to, like, react on here into this when it hits. Like, when his teaser trailer hits, whatever. When Kenobi hits, I probably won't, do a trailer action, because I'll probably be excited, like, too excited. Ewan McGregor's my boy. Too bad I had to want to do this in alphabetical order. Like, I could have been, like, Ewan first, and then, yeah. And he's known for doing Jar Jar, but I forget if I mentioned that one. Which had, like, its creative differences based off this book called Caging Skies. It, like, recently also made Taika, like, the first Mori director. Like, that's what they called his kind. Yeah. Then you got this guy named Viggo Mortensen. He's known for playing Aragorn in The Lord of the Rings. He may actually be back. I heard rumors or whatever from somebody from, like, the former YouTube channel known as Collider that he could be back in that TV series for Amazon, unless that one got canceled. Because, like, it had too many problems, then the virus hit. He's known for... Here, I'm just gonna quickly... He's known for this film called Eastern Promises, which I think won him a few Oscars or award nominations. He's known for this film called History of Violence, which I think was, like, one of the first, like, or one of the last movies on VHS. That probably got transferred to DVD as well first. Who knows, right? And this film called Appaloosa, which both have Ed Harris, who is, like, all the way up there somewhere. That guy. And there's this movie called Green Book. I haven't seen it, but, like, it has Mahershala Ali in it, who's gonna be the new, like, Blade for Disney Plus or whatever. And also, I think he's in Harrison Ford's Witness, which is, like, one of my favorite Harrison Ford movies that I've yet to see, like, the whole thing of. You know, the Amish kid one. Then you got this guy named William Fichtner. He's in this film called Armageddon, where he's basically like one of the helpers of the spaceship that helps bring home like Ben Affleck, Owen Wilson, and whoever else survived. I haven't seen the film in a while, but I own the movie. He's in The Lone Ranger, the Johnny Depp movie version. He's known for... based off the TV show, obviously. He's known for being one of my favorite TV series, but give me a second. He's known for this 2004-2005 movie called The Longest Yard, which has James Cromwell up here, where there's like this prison guard versus the inmates playing football, based off of an original in like the 1970s, which has like Blake Gray, Burt Reynolds as Adam Sandler's character. And the guy who plays Captain Connery, William Fichtner's character in the original, is actually like James Cromwell's friend in it, Ed Lauter. But yeah, which is like fun little nod. And Burt Reynolds actually like, has like a bigger cameo, like not a cameo, but like a bigger role, but like kind of smaller or whatever, in my opinion, in the movie Longest Yard. And he's known for this TV series called Prison Break, where this still on IMDb probably comes from. There was like a season 5 of the TV show, but I don't think his character was seen or mentioned, but maybe we'll get, like, if we get season 6, we'll probably get where Alexander Mahone is. I haven't seen the show in a while. I'm surprised I remembered his character's name. Then you got this guy named William Holden. He's known for being the uncle to Damien Thorne, the adoptive uncle to Damien Thorne in the Omen 2. He's known for this movie called Sabrina, which had, I think, Audrey Hepburn in it, and there was a remake that had Harrison Ford, but I don't know if Harrison was William Holden's character. Was he? Was he not? I have to, like, look that up later. And he's known for this iconic, gritty western known as Wild Bunch. Wild Bunch is probably, like, grittier than, like, The Magnificent Seven, one of my other favorite westerns, and definitely grittier than, like, Unforgiven, one of Clint Eastwood's greatest movies ever. Like, of his western movies. Then you got this guy, thank goodness he's, like, last. No offense. You got this guy named William Peterson. He's known for one of the first adaptations of the Hannibal series called Red Dragon, also known as Manhunter. Like, if you guys have seen the movie Red Dragon, watch the movie Manhunter. It's like the same thing, but like a different name for it. He's the producer and actor of this hit series called CSI, which has Paul Guilfoyle in it. Pardon me. He's known for this film called Fear, which I think is recently on Netflix. Like, it's basically a guide to know what to do with your kid. I mean, like, the boyfriend played by Mark Wahlberg, he's freaky and, like, super possessive and mean and abusive and stuff, but, yeah. And then William takes action. Basically, like, Fatal Instinct, I think, or Basic Instinct. He's known for this film called To Live and Die in LA with one of the guys at the top. Why not? My fingers are, like, usually get tired. Christopher Allport. That even quotes him. And a few other movies. And he and Vigo are actually also part of the Young Guns movies, the one that had, like, Diamond Phillips and Kiefer and them, but yeah. So, bye, you guys. I'll probably be back, like, later or something with, like, Ask Me Anything type Q&A on the live thing. Or maybe I'll just go over to, like, the Star Wars channel as soon as I'm done uploading this one. Bye, guys.